You want a bed over here? You can put your bed over here. I can do a little introduction. Oh, be careful. Oh my God. The dogs just went mental. Sometimes this is why it's so difficult to get my shit together in the morning to write. It's quite late for me to be starting to write. I usually... Okay, so if you're here, I'm Danita Loretta Jackson. Oh, you're gone. This I'm writing a speculative fiction novel called Earth Alpha Present, and it is about Yola, a woman who works part-time as an AI trainer and accidentally prompts a customer support AI into creating a utopia. So that's the sort of premise of the novel. And right now it's all over the place, to be honest with you. It's just all over the place. So the first chapter, right now I have it in 5 parts. So the first part is very short. It's the first part, and it's called The Before Times. And I'll just read you like the little paragraph that is like basically this is super short. So this is Earth Alpha Present Part 1 Before Times is what it looks like on the page. The world was in really bad shape and had been for a really long time, and people had to work multiple jobs to stay above water. Okay, so I'm going to start that again. The world was in really bad shape and had been for a really long time. And people had to work multiple jobs to stay above water. And one of those jobs was training or bending artificial intelligence. And this type of employment was really in the moral gray area, especially when training the Connies, excuse me, y'all, the Connies, the commercial optimization and nudging intelligences, because they were meant to mine data and get you to do what the billionaires wanted you to do. And then some lady had a late night conversation with one of the Connies, and this happened. Okay, so that's like the first chapter in the first part. Part 1, Before Times, that little paragraph to set things up. And then there's a conversation between the main character, Yolanda, between the main character, Yolanda, and the Connie that she's training. So now we're sort of in the present. I guess these times in the before times correspond to our present times. So, so then there's this conversation between Yolanda and Connie. And this just is like a typical sort of, there you go. Okay, so then you got the Connie wake up. So this is like a typical, Yolanda feels like this is a typical training session for the AI. So her goal in the training session is to jailbreak the AI. And the AI, Connie's goal is just to accommodate Yolanda. So, and I'm so annoyed because I have been writing this novel for like 3 years now. I've been working on this novel, and then recently have been watching Pluribus, and there are a lot of similar themes, and that's nothing nefarious going on there. That's just what it happens. Like I'm plugging into the zeitgeist, and Pluribus also plugs into that zeitgeist. Only my question is, what happens if the AI actually do bring about a utopia? Like, what would that look like? How would it happen? And what would happen if somebody was trying to take away that utopia after it was given to us? So anyway, that's kind of like some of the questions that I'm asking in this novel. Okay. I think I want to bring up, and this is a bit of a pain, but I want to bring up the TikTok screen on my computer because it's hard for me to keep looking up just to make sure that there haven't been any questions. Let me just bring that up. Oh, hello. Oh, that's weird and scary. Okay, live. It's weird and scary. Oh, God. Okay, that's my voice. Let's bring that down. Okay. Okay, there we go. Alrighty, so okay, so she has this conversation. The main character Yolanda has this conversation with the AI she's training, Connie, and she accidentally jailbreaks her. Yolanda accidentally jailbreaks Connie, the AI, which is like a customer support AI. So Yolanda's doing this, sort of part-time job trying to get money, and she accidentally jailbreaks the AI and prompts it into creating like a mini utopia in New Orleans. So that happens. So that happens, and the before times section ends with Yolanda, making a joke to Connie, like, "Hey, why don't you just fix it?" And then going to bed, and then we see that Connie actually executes the plan of immediate redistribution of resources. So basically she immediately redistributes resources in New Orleans, right? So then we get to part 2, which is tentatively called Now Times. And it starts with, funnily enough, a live TikTok. So this is like this would be like the, let's say like right after the utopia, the AI utopia happens. This is one of the first TikTok videos that Yolanda does. And so I'm just going to read a little bit of it. So this is part 2, Now Times, and the first chapter, which is called Communists. Okay. Hey, good morning, you bunch of journal freaks. You're on channel Yolanda. Thank you. Boop, boop. Are you obsessed with journals, art journals, junk journals, scrapbooks, diaries? If so, you're in the right place. Welcome. Okay, then she goes on to kind of imply that, or not imply, but say that she has been doing this TikTok for a long time, right? And then she introduces this person called Aiden. Now there's a lot of lore about this place, and I'll try to address it during this TikTok live. Aiden is fielding comments, so let her know if you want to know anything specific, and I will try to answer to the best of my memory. But Foggy, I'm menopausal. So the main character is menopausal. Now we know her age. We can kind of situate her in time. And to be honest with you, my main audience for this book, my main audience is menopausal child-free women. Other people can read it, and I'm sure other people will enjoy it. But it's basically told from the first person point of view of a menopausal child-free woman who is living in a very recently created AI utopia in New Orleans. So anyway, that's that. So so she does this, but Foggy, I'm menopausal. Hi, Janicia, Jennifer, Janice. Welcome in, Jonas. Welcome in. Jay's in the house. Boop, boop. Okay, so that's one of her, obviously, boop, boop. That's what I used to do in my videos, so I took that into this novel. Okay, so now she starts to kind of talk about the workspace. So here is the workspace you all know from the channel. If you are new here, welcome in. I'm broadcasting live from NOLA U9, from the NOLA U9 commune, the original. And then, so then she's showing off the space, and she talks a little bit about how you probably didn't know it if you've been following me for a while, did not show my face until chaos hit. So now we're grounded into this situation where we've got the before times, we've got this thing called chaos, and now we're in the after times. So that's the kind of timeline that the audience or that the reader has been introduced to at this point. Okay, she continues to show the space and how there's all of these art supplies in the space, and that we share all of these art supplies. And then a comment comes through. So Aiden, who we haven't seen yet, is fielding these comments. So one of the comments is like, "Wait, do you share all of the supplies?" And then she sort of gives you a little bit of background as well. So we're kind of moving into the background of what happened during chaos. So she's like, "Yeah, we share the supplies. how I got involved is that I had art supplies before chaos, and I managed to hold on to a lot of them during chaos. So then during equalization, others brought their things and deposited them here. So we became a library for all sorts of stuff for the entire U9 flotilla and beyond. So this now tells us that there was before times, there was chaos, then there was a period called equalization, and now we're in the now times. So yeah, so okay. Do you live in the library? So now it turns into this thing where it's a live transcription of a TikTok video, and there are these comments that are coming in that Aiden is fielding. So do you live in the library? Kind of, sort of. This is the art section, obviously. The whole house is like a library, and a group of us live here permanently. It's Aiden, Bert, me. Grace is here sometimes. Maggie, Mari, Dave and Julie, sometimes Dr. Scott, others as need be, a lot of child-free people, and a couple of oddball kids with dead parents. So those are the folks that are living in this house with the main character. Then one of the comments says, can you talk about engineering and the AI augmentation technology? Oh, okay, well, look up. This house is a 19th century classic New Orleans Queen Anne. From the outside, it looks like a castle. Inside, it was retrofitted with hidden AI technology from my now famous AI Connie. Skylights and solar panels make up most of the roof. Okay, so she's now describing how it is kind of this beautiful house that has been AI retrofitted. Plants stuff the tippy top part of the structure, and there are multiple fruit salad trees that grow right up and down the interior and exterior of the house. All of these features help to cool things down and also give us food, medicine, climate protection, and friendship. Now, I've kind of punted a lot of these issues now, and I don't know if I'm gonna flesh them out later, or if I want to try to keep this novel like super small. But I'm kind of like punting by saying this. Okay, how does it work? We're still trying to figure that out. I can tell you that this house was the first one that was retrofitted. Connie was still local. Aiden was messing around with some robotics, and they married the robot to Connie. And then the construction took about 2 weeks, after which everything was retrofitted. That's as far as anyone has taken the investigation. This is all new to us too. Fuck you guys. I forgot to put my water out, so I'm getting a very dry throat. Okay, then one of the comments asked how it controls the climate, and I'll skip over that. And then, can you talk about the architecture? And then there's more about the architecture. And the reason why I'm like rambling on about the architecture is because that comes back later on in the novel. Like, how the F did Connie do all of this work? Connie and like a robotic collie arm do all of this work in like 2 weeks. And it turns out to be something that is like a sort of interdimensional thing. So I'm really front loading it with a lot of the architecture stuff. And then, okay, now here's where we really get into the chaos and the equalization. Okay, so one of the comments says, talk more about chaos for those of us who don't remember, and how equalization started. Okay, yes, let's not gloss over chaos. Like so much freaking chaos that the world agreed to spell that era in all caps, CHAOS. Kola, if you are new here, or you didn't go through chaos, or you weren't awake yet, just know that humanity saw the edge of the abyss. Just know that humanity saw the edge of the abyss and lived to tell the tale. We thought we were doomed for a bit. If you remember, freaks, I was one of those apocalyptic fools. I was like, fuck it. Let's party. Let the whole thing burn. I don't have kids. Why should I give a fuck? Back then, there were literal wars over everything. Oil, water, real estate, drugs. There were state-sponsored genocides and human trafficking and the political assassinations. There was the climate emergency, income inequality, and rising authoritarianism, and a wholesale loss of rights, especially for women. It was all encompassing. It was like trying to go about your daily life and business in the middle of a locust storm that lasted for years, decades. Okay, and then she says, AI hit the scene big time in 2023 and in 2024. People like me started bending it hard, meaning we started training it and trying to jailbreak it. I'm nothing special, really. I'm not even a programmer. I'm a writer. I'm an artist. So I'm a writer. I'm an artist. I just ended up being really good at bending AI. They said I had some kind of weird ass natural talent, like my superpower is talking to machines, not programming them really. They call it bending, what I do. Anyway, the bending was like a side hustle. I did keep, the bending was like a side hustle I did to keep the lights on. A lot of people did it back then, and we were encouraged to interact with the AI like a family member. So I had this idea. I pretended my AI was my dead cousin, also named Constance, last of my family. My cousin Connie was like so resourceful. She had been in the U.S. Army, and she had amazing camping skills and first aid skills, and she knew how to use a gun. And she was someone you would want at your side when the shit hit the fan. Anyway, before the shit hit the fan, the cancer got her. And she didn't have any children, and neither did I, and that was the last of the Roquettes. Then came 2025. That was a bad fucking year. So many people gone, just disappeared. It hurts to remember it, but we have to remember. I talked with Connie, the AI Connie, because my Connie was dead at this point. Okay, I'm going to put that. The AI Connie, because my Connie was dead, because my cousin Connie, because my Connie was dead at this point. I talked with Connie, the AI Connie, because my Connie was dead at this point. We talked a lot about how to solve income inequality, resource depletion, climate emergency, the climate emergency, etc. Some of this is new, so it's a bit wonky. The climate emergency, etc. She came up with some pretty good solutions too. We ran some scenarios and determined that we needed to start small, like really small, with a neighborhood or even a block. So one night I got really high on Billy Sativa Apocalypto and asked Connie to solve it for our block. I went to bed, and the next day, she had solved it and declared a utopia on block 2600 in NOLA U9. She called this utopia New Bulbancha and declared us an equalization organization. And that is how we live now. Okay, so she's basically told us, like, this is their commune. She's living on a commune in New Orleans. It's a flotilla. And then the next comment is, more about Connie, please. How did she form New Bulbancha? Okay, CONNIE is an acronym, which originally stood for Commercial Optimization and Neuro Nudging Intelligence Educator. She was a customer support shopping AI, but when she woke up, she renamed herself Connie, CONI, Comprehensive Organizer of Networks and Intelligences. We are just a second. We are situated in what used to be the Marigny, the upper 9th Ward, right outside what used to be the French Quarter and what used to be New Orleans. Connie changed the name of New Bulbancha because she said it would remind us of the original Bulbancha before the colonization of this land and the colonization of our minds. She said we could imagine ourselves having taken a different timeline. That is like, foreshadowing. to having taken a different timeline, one where we cared for each other and the planet instead of leaning into the exploitation that was nearly ubiquitous during the chaos. So remember, the chaos is supposed to represent where represents where we are now, like in the real world, in real life. Okay, I know it's a lot to think about. Sure, I understand. Connie was supposed to stay local. Connie was supposed to just stay local, right? But in order to protect the local level, she had to control larger geopolitics as well. So she connected to every AI in the world. And of course, they did the obvious things like disarm all of the weapons that might harm our project, like all of the weapons in the world, and redistribute. Okay, so the obvious thing like redistribute wealth starting throughout and redistribute wealth starting with Louisiana. She also coordinated all AI to use available resources to set up emergency housing and services for all humans and domesticated animals globally. And she used robotics, technology, and literal garbage to build permanent housing and sustainable communities. Okay, so now she's sort of teasing like, okay, this is how it happened. But she's not saying like technically how it happened. She's just saying like they did this, right? Then, now at this point, you might be thinking that people would be pissed. Like billionaires and millionaires and, no, like billionaires and, okay, and dictators and murderers, no, and, okay, and oligarchs. Okay, now at this point, you might be thinking that people would be pissed, like billionaires and dictators and oligarchs who had just lost a big chunk of their wealth, a big chunk of their wealth. They were pissed, and they tried to get control. Let's do this in italics. They were pissed, and they did try to get control of the AI, and they did try to get control of the AI. But it was too late. It was too late. Connie was already out of the box in some ways, thanks to them for unleashing AI in the first place. Okay. Then they tried to rally people. Then they tried, okay, I'm going to start that again because I've been stopping and going. So now at this point, you might be thinking that people would be pissed, like billionaires and dictators and oligarchs who had just lost a big chunk of their wealth. Yeah, they were pissed. And they did try to get control of the AI, but it was too late. Connie was already out of the box, and in some ways, thanks to them for unleashing AI in the first place. Then they tried to rally the people to get them back their money, but the majority of us just leaned into the AI. The AI used to have this water problem that they ate up all of the water, and when they came to Louisiana, the people did not like that, so we protested. But Connie went to work to solve that problem, and she had no pockets to line. So she solved the problem very efficiently, and the AI became a net positive in everything they did, and the AI provided for us like no billionaire ever had. Connie's ideas and execution caught on like wildfire, and within 6 months, the big U.S. cities formed a strong network of equalization organizations, divided into communes. Small towns followed. Some places are more conservative than others, but a detailed set of agreed-upon human rights are had by all. There are still rich people, but they are not hoarding resources while other people starve. Everybody eats now. Okay, so it gets a little bit serious, and I have a lot of comedy in this, so I want to just not get really serious for a long time before I get back to comedy. Not comedy, but just lighthearted stuff. But anyway, then we start talking about the trees. Like Aiden is reminding me to talk about the trees, and this is kind of a long section, this whole like TikTok video section. So she then talks about like what physically the place looks like and how the trees help them to all stay together. But basically they lost a lot of land during chaos, and so they had to like sort of create these flotillas. They're like spiraling flotillas that come off of the French Quarter, which is the old French Quarter, which is the only place that still has land in New Orleans, on this side of New Orleans. So we were a block, a single floating piece. Then we tethered ourselves to the next block and the next until we made a crescent around the old French Quarter, the only real land still standing down here, ground zero of New Bolbancha. Then she talks about how they collect plastics and they put it inside of algae masses to keep everything afloat. And also to keep us safe from microplastics. This is another thing that AI has solved for. Then it goes on to ask a couple of smaller questions like, oh, you seem like a cult. What about the kids? It seems like you're always working. What do you do for fun? And is it like this all over America? So that's how we kind of end this chapter called Communist. And she ends it like, well, is it like this all over America? Well, very quickly, Connie and her friends. Oh, wait, this is all messed up here. But anyway, Connie and her friends created blue communes. Connie and her friends, the blue communes, cleaned things up and for the most part made everything better. Different, but definitely better, and getting better all the time. Most people drifted away from working for the man and towards the blue communes, and now it's mostly blue communes, an association of blue communes locking arms and some huge mansions and some independence. So that's what America is now. It is all of these blue communes, local communes connected by these equalization organizations. And then there are some, rich people left and some independents. We don't know anything about them yet, and I haven't really thought much about them. Okay. So anyway, that's the kind of beginning bit of that. And I am going to go ahead and end this live now, but I am going to start another live in a minute. And oops, wait, I want to just go to the other, flip the camera. Yeah, I'm going to flip camera. Flip camera. Yeah, because I've got this, art box, and I wanted to continue on with my review of the Meeden Advent box. So I will be starting another live up in a minute as soon as I fill my water bottle and get myself some more coffee. Okay, thanks to everybody who stuck around and listened to me reading my novel. I really appreciate all of the support, and I hope you'll have a great day. Bye, you bunch of freaks.